Game 6, the Atlanta Hawks, the Milwaukee Bucks. Probably no Giannis. Definitely not a fully healthy Trae Young if he decides to play in this game. The elimination game, now 1 win away from the NBA Finals, is this Bucks team. So we're going to break it down from the spread. I already took the spread. The night of the basketball game, I took the spread, right? 2 days ago. That night, right when the lines came out, took it. That's the best time to take the lines because they're the softest. And if you think you have an edge, you can capitalize on that edge. And as of right now, it is looking good for us. Anybody in the Discord who perhaps was watching when I took it, we'll be talking about player props. I have 2 today. The player props from the other day, all 5 hit. If you were able to parlay those together, you probably won 4 figures like a couple people in the Discord. Good time. I put 50 on it, and we had a $500 outcome. Not bad. And then, of course, we'll talk about fantasy, the overall projections, DraftKings, FanDuel, SuperDraft, all this type of stuff. We have the projections, the optimizer, all that already loaded right now. Recording this a day before, already loaded down below on Patreon. So, with all that said, this last game, you might look at it and go, oh, the Bucks, you know what? The Hawks, not that good of a team. The Bucks destroyed them. The Hawks, Trae Young, no Trae, Fugazi, this is a fake team. Hey, you got to look a little bit closer. They had a massive first quarter, the Bucks. They did everything they possibly could in the paint. Brook Lopez, alley-oop city on 3 straight possessions at one point, right? The Bucks dominated the first quarter. If you want to just look back at it, they went on a 10-2 run and a 14-3 run in the first quarter. They were up 28-10 at one point very early on. They scored on their first 13 possessions with 5 offensive rebounds in the first quarter alone. They won that quarter by 14. 36-22 over Atlanta. Now, on the opposite side of that one, I mean, the Hawks, as great as the Bucks were, right? They scored 36 points in the first quarter. The Hawks still came on late in that quarter. They shot 3 of 19 early on in the first quarter. 3 of 19 to start the game out, right? And they only lost the quarter by 14 when the team on the other end was shooting 90% in the quarter. Brook Lopez, 6 of 6 in the quarter, right? So this is where you start to see them cut that lead down. And oh yeah, the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter, if you take those final 3 quarters, the Bucks actually didn't lead the game. The Hawks won those last 3 quarters by about 3 points. So this was a much closer game outside of the first 7 to 10 minutes of gameplay than people are expecting. And that's why it opened as a pick'em for Game 6. And I took the Hawks. The Hawks at home, going to force a Game 7. Trae Young, a chance he plays and just plays someone out there to temper the crowd, to not let those runs happen, to slow the pace in the first quarter, to just control a little bit more. So I took the Hawks as a pick 'em. Right now, the Hawks can be found at -2.5, at -2, depending on the book that you're looking at. At this point, if you're looking to bet the spread, you're not getting the best number, but I would take the Hawks at -2 still. If it moves to -2.5 or -3, I'm not going to be touching it. But the Hawks at a pick 'em, if that's still available in your book, Hawks -1, -2, that's where I have the Hawks at right now. You just want to take the money line and pay some of the vig back? That's fine. So that's where we have the Hawks. And we can break that into exactly why and a little bit more right now. So let's talk about the Atlanta side of this one first. Trae Young misses his 2nd straight game, and we can get into the minutes momentarily. This Atlanta team, like I said, it was just a really bad first quarter. They cut the lead early on in the third after a made 3 off of Brook Lopez, which looked like it was going to be an easy dunk. He gets stripped. They cut the lead to 6 points at one point. They outscored Milwaukee those final 3 quarters, like I said. Although they never led in this game, they had a 33-point fourth quarter. So it was really just one bad quarter. And really just one half of a bad quarter. They still scored 22 in the first. It's not like a 16-point quarter. And there was big key pieces for them in that game. Gallinari played really well. He shot 5 of 11 overall, but made all 7 of his free throw attempts. He was -3 overall in the 23 minutes, but that was the second best out of any reasonable player who played 18 to 20 plus minutes. The best was actually Cam Reddish, who now in 2 games of meaningful run without Trae Young has looked good. He played 23 minutes. He shot 3 of 7, had 7 total points, and he was a team best out of anybody who played more than 5 to 10 minutes, +1 in this game for Atlanta. So there's some bright spots for them. Bogdanovich was the best bright spot in this game. 7 of 15, 15 3-point attempts. You're talking DFS, you're talking player props upside. It's through the roof, Bogdanovich. 15 3-point attempts. He ended up shooting 10 of 22 overall in this game. 28 points, 5 boards, 4 assists. He looks fully healthy as he's now just playing 35, 36 minutes a night. That's important moving forward into this Game 6 for the Atlanta Hawks. So as we mentioned some of those players, you can see my projected minutes for them on the screen. I'm projecting Trae Young out right now, although I will admit this likely will change. And obviously if we get the news, he's right now as of this recording. I'm recording this at 3 p.m. the day before. He's already been ruled likely a game time decision tomorrow. If he has anything in the tank, and he's missed back-to-back games for this injury, so I don't expect him to be 100%, 70%. Maybe he's 50%. If he's out there, I'll project him in for 36 to 38 minutes. It won't project as nicely or as efficient as he normally is, and I probably won't have too much interest. Some, but, it's a 1-game slate. but not too much interest from a DraftKings DFS daily fantasy sports perspective. But for right now, we'll just project him out. It's fairly simple though. If he's in, you see overall less productivity out of Bogdanovich, you see a lot less minutes out of Cam Reddish, out of Lou Williams, and you see Chris Dunn leave the rotation. So it's that simple, right? It's that simple. But if we project Trae Young out, and if he misses again, Lou Williams becomes arguably the best play on the slate. There's going to be 2 or 3 guys that you can say are up there with him, and we can get to some on the Milwaukee side. But Lou Williams will look fantastic. He played big minutes in that last game. He struggled early on, but he finished the game strongly. The second half, he took more shots, and he started to become more efficient. Shot 8 of 15 in that game and had 17 total points. I've got Lou Will at 34 minutes in this game, and I've got Lou Will looking like my favorite piece if there's no Trae Young from Atlanta. He projects out for me for 33.4 fantasy points today. Another player who's early on listed as a yes in my projections, and these will be updated if you want to get access. We will not have a live stream because I'll be chilling out, relaxing, maxing on a cool July 4th weekend. Hopefully you are as well after watching this video, of course, but no live stream. So if you want to see any updates, check out Patreon. Gallinari is too cheap. At $3,800, he's too cheap. He's not playing massive minutes, but he's taking shots, especially if there's no Trae Young. I have Gallo at 24 minutes and about 20 fantasy points at just $3,800. He's actually a significant piece for them. Maybe not on defense, but as an offensive weapon if there's no Trae Young. So Gallo and Lou Williams, my favorite Atlanta Hawks right now. We could break down my exact interest more so as we continue to go through this. Now, some players who struggled in that last game, and thankfully for us, right, hitting those 5 props, the big 50 into 500, a lot of people in the chat had a good time. Luckily, Kevin Horton didn't shoot well. He shot 3 of 12. So he's going to shoot better than that 3 of 12, 25%. So I actually now like the under. We took 13.5 last time. Now it's down to 12.5. I'll take the over on that and hope for, we get a point less and maybe some more. He's getting the shot attempts with there's no Trae. Maybe some more overall better shooting numbers going his way. Not 25%. If he can get back to 40, that's going to hit for us. So he shot 3 of 12 overall, minus 12. And Clint Capella, they went small ball a little bit. Okungwa played more minutes. He was playing well. Capella, not doing too much out there, especially against Lopez. Only played 21 minutes, only shot 4 times. Was basically a waste of space in this game. I have him at 30 minutes in this game, and that might be high. So the team stats from that last game, they shot 40% on threes. They shot 45% from the field. Everything looked good, right? They just had 14 turnovers early, and they weren't making shots early on, right? So they could not withstand that big first 5 to 6 minutes and contain the 36-point first quarter. So everything else, so the last 3 quarters looked good. It might not seem like that because they never led and they barely got in between 10 points for much of the game. So if you're just looking from the outside looking in, you might say, yeah, they got no chance. I'm going to be taking Milwaukee at +2 and then just keep waiting because you're getting a better number. But the Hawks is where we're going on the line. Let's get into the prop that I have from the Hawks. I have 1 prop so far. We can talk about more in the Discord if you're a member. Patreon, link down below. But over on Prize Picks right now, I have 1 pick from each team, and the first one is going to be Kevin Horton, the over points. We already touched on it. He shot 12 times in the last game, shot poorly. And now we get the point total to drop down. Heading into game 5, it was 13.5. Now it's 12.5 after 1 poorly shooting night. He's still going to play 36 plus minutes. I have him at 36. Whether Trae's in or not, if Trae's not in, you're probably getting 12 to 15 plus shots. If Trae is in, you're probably getting 8 to 12 shots. So either way, he's going to have opportunities here. Kevin Horton over 12.5 points. And here's a nice thing about Prize Picks. Well, if you use the code SAL, it's linked down below. What are you waiting for? Limited time offer for the rest of the postseason, so not that much longer. You get a free bet if you use the code SAL. Any money you put in, they'll double that money. So you put $25 in to try it out. Now you have a $25 free bet to use all the way up to $100. And the other thing, they're currently doing this $1 million contest where if it's your first time signing up with my code, they will send you a link. You go to that link and you choose 5 questions. You answer 5 questions. If you answer all 5 of them correctly, you win $1 million. Now, these are not simple and easy questions. They're a little bit difficult, right? They're challenging. Otherwise, everybody would be a millionaire here and they'd be out of business. And that is only if you are a new user through that code SAL or if you're a current user and refer somebody. So you can check them out. That is Prize Picks. That is the first prop. We can touch on the second prop as we get to the Milwaukee side. And let's get right now into that Milwaukee side. So the Milwaukee side of it, which you saw in Game 6, was still no Giannis. You at least got to see him jumping up and down on the sideline. So it's a little bit, if you're a Bucks fan, this isn't a long-term injury here. It's a hyperextension. Bobby Portis started in this game for Giannis like he did in the regular season. He's just an energy plug. He's a fan favorite. It was so fun watching Bobby Portis out there, crazy eyes as they call him, playoff career highs. Not just in minutes with 36, 35.8 to be exact, but 22 points. He had 3 offensive boards. He was 9 of 20 shooting, which doesn't look good, but for the most part, he was efficient until the end of the game where he took a couple of mid-range jump shots and, he missed those ones. But plus 16 was the 3rd best in the entire game. He brought the energy. He brought it all. I haven't projected to start again. I currently have Bobby Portis as we can pull up this Milwaukee Bucks team's minutes right now, I have Bobby Portis in this one projected for 32 minutes. So less than he saw last time, but if you want to give him more or less, that's fine. I just have him for 32, and he already looks good. He is averaging so far this season 1.27 fantasy points per minute since the beginning of April with no Giannis Antetokounmpo on the court. Give me that and give me a lot of it. Brook Lopez was the man of the hour, though. 33 points, led the game. He was a career high there. He played big minutes for the first time in a while. He realized that he had a size advantage because he's 7 foot for the first time in this postseason, and it was just alley-oop city. I mean, the Jrue Holiday two-man game with Brook Lopez, Holiday 13 assists, even Middleton who at some points who had 8 assists, just getting in the paint and having somebody commit to him on those small potential jump shots and just dunk city. I mean, there were 6, 7, 8 dunks and easy lobs in this game. That's why he shot 14 of 18, 78% in this game. He was a plus 17, which was the best in the game. He was even great on defense and switching and drop coverages. Trey not being out there helps, but 4 blocks on defense. So Brook Lopez I have for a big minutes this game, 35. His price point is up to $7,200, so I would still prefer Bobby Portis in DFS at this point right now for $1,000 savings. But everybody, not just the role players in Bobby Portis, not just the role players to an extent in Brook Lopez, but everybody was getting going. Middleton, very quiet, massive game out of him, right? The 13 assist game and Jrue Holiday having 25 plus points as well as Middleton. All the starters got big minutes because they were all having career highs like Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez, right? They all saw 36 plus. 4 of them saw 38 plus minutes. They were all plus 8 or better in this game. That's what happens when you start off really hot. That left only 42.2 minutes for the bench unit, of which Pat Connaughton saw 21.1, of which Forbes, who has not been playing well, saw 13.6. So there's not much left on the bone for the bench. I think Connaughton sees a couple more minutes. I gave him 28. That's why I knocked down a little bit, just a couple minutes from Bobby Portis. So I think Connaughton sees some more, but Bryn Forbes continues to play bad. A team worst, -6. He only shot 1 of 4 in this game. He's now like 2 for his last 12 shooting, and he's just shooting terrible shots, not contributing anywhere else, not playing defense. Not shocked to see Bryn Forbes' minutes actually tank and Connaughton play a lot more. Jeff Teague played 3 minutes. He had a bunch of personal fouls, and he gave away a terrible turnover. He just coast-to-coast reddished it the other side, so I don't know why he's playing. Just don't put him on the court for any minutes. Give more minutes to Connaughton or even Bryn Forbes for that matter. So everything was clicking for them. They had 66 points in the paint. That was 30 more than Atlanta had. They had 13 fast break points to Atlanta's 7. And Atlanta, for most of the series, has been stopping them in transition. Not this game. And they were able to do this while shooting 31% from 3, 9 of 29. So that's why the game was close. They continue to shoot poorly from 3. They just had the hot start early on, shooting 50.5% overall, and over 60% from 2-point range was this Bucks team. So the Bucks played well. And for a reminder, including that last game since the beginning of April of what this team is doing without Giannis on the court, Jrue Holiday leads the team with 1.33 fantasy points per minute. Middleton right there with 1.32. These are your 2 best options. But if you keep going down, Bobby Portis is at 1.26. That's fantastic. That is great. Brook Lopez goes from a 0.9 to a 1 fantasy point per minute producer, right? So those are the main guys who see the biggest bumps there. Somewhat of a bump for Connaughton, but that's what you should expect. We were expecting that last game. We projected it in, and it all just happened to work out for us. Now, in terms of the prop on this side, I have the under 17.5 points for PJ Tucker. I do think that you're going to see a more offensive game. Tucker, since they had a big lead, can stay on the court a little bit more. He played like 37.5 minutes this past game. If you only give him 34, 35, or even less upcoming, and you give more minutes to Bobby Portis, and you give more minutes to mainly Pat Connaughton, only getting 21 in that last game. First of all, PJ Tucker, not really going to score all that often. He averages a half a fantasy point per minute. So even in 35 minutes, he's not getting you over 17.5. He's getting you right there. But I think there's a chance that he could play less minutes. They opt for more offense. And in general, I feel comfortable getting under on that number. I currently have right now Mr. PJ Tucker projected for 15 fantasy points in this game. So we'll take the nice under there. So that's where we're at on the props. Again, you could use that code SAL. You get the opportunity to potentially win $1 million, and that'd be great. You could say, hey, here's $1, Sal. Go get yourself something nice at the Dollar Tree. And then you can also say, hey, get your extra 100% match up to $100 in your first bet. Lots of promotions they're doing right now as the playoffs are finishing up, so you might as well take advantage of them. Free, F-R-E-E. Why not get some free stuff out of it? So we covered the 2 props. We covered the fact that I have the pick 'em on Atlanta. I'm fine if you still want to take the -2 on that. I like it. I'm not doubling down because I don't have to at this point, but I'm fine if you want to. My overall favorite plays in this game right now, assuming that Trae Young is out, it's going to go Lou Williams, Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, Jrue Holiday, Middleton, and Gallo. Those are my 6 favorite guys right now. If Trae Young is in, you can scratch the Lou Williams part. We're not that interested in Trae Young, and Gallo will still have some interest in from Atlanta. And then it's just all Milwaukee, basically like it was last time. You're looking at Pat Connaughton for value, like last time. Got you there late on a couple free throws if you bet the over 12.5. Whew, that was a close one, right? You got the Bobby Portis is going to continue to look great in the starting lineup, assuming he starts, which I would expect that. No reason to take him out after that career performance. And then Jrue Holiday, Middleton. I'm just a little bit less on Brook Lopez. He had this big game. Maybe more ownership goes his way. The price point comes up. I'm just a little bit less. I think they're going to adjust somewhat to not just let him do whatever he wants in the paint, literally whatever he wanted. So that's where I'm at from this entire game all around. We will not be going live, so if you do indeed want to get any updates on Trae Young or any specific other props or thoughts from myself, you can join the Patreon Discord down below. The optimizers there, the projections, the ranks, everything's going to be updated. Not just access to NBA, but MLB optimizer there now, MMA, PGA, and obviously the NFL preseason starts up in a month. Thanks for tuning in. You all rock. I'll see you in the next one, gang, and best of luck. Game 6. Let's fingers crossed, not just for my bet, but that we get a Game 7 here on Monday.